The Teen Titans 2003 series, as you might have guessed from the title, puts this team of adolescent superheroes front and center. But there are also plenty of other superheroes that make their own contributions and display their wide array of superpowers. Some heroes are evidently stronger than others, and today, we're going to be determining who ends up on top. I'm Andrew from Wicked Binge, and this is Teen Titans Heroes Weak to Powerful. Here are the ground rules. There will be a lot of heroes to go over, and we'll do our best to include everyone. If they were ever a member of the Teen Titans, or were an honorary Titan, or were part of any superhero group, they'll be ranked here. Weapons or technology will not be a major factor in our ranking, unless that character needs them in order to function. Any particular superpowers, or lack thereof, will be significant in determining a character's strength based on how useful the power is. We are also sticking solely to what is seen in the 2003 cartoon, so anything that's exclusive in either the Teen Titans Go comics or the 2013 cartoon will not be counted. The first category is the weakest heroes. They're the characters that do have some abilities but mostly are lacking in terms of power. Starting with the weakest character, we have Cole. Cole is athletic and can survive the cold with no difficulty, but she can't attack anyone. She has no offensive abilities to speak of, and her defensive capabilities are rather limited. Her power is that she turns into a crystalline form and can be used as a weapon. Cole is practically invincible while in this form, but she has to have someone wield her in combat since she can't move on her own. She doesn't provide much value when by herself, since she would only be able to either dodge attacks or freeze herself to avoid taking any damage. Cole essentially needs Gnark by her side to be effective in a battle situation. She does have some useful abilities, but she is still the weakest hero here. Next up, we'll be covering the superhero siblings Melvin, Timmy, and Teether. At first glance, these kids don't inspire much confidence in terms of strength. Since all three of them are so young, they can appear to be defenseless. However, each of them do possess powers that have proven to be useful, especially in conjunction with each other. Teether can chew anything and spit it out. Timmy's screams are devastatingly powerful when he is upset, and Melvin has the power to turn her imagination into something real, which is how Bobby came to life. Bobby, too, has proven to be very helpful, as he aided her and her brothers in defeating Monsieur Mallah and saving Raven. These superpowered children aren't that strong yet, but their unique abilities do give them an edge over Cole. Next is Tram. We all love Tram, but his value to the team has more to do with his engineering prowess than his fighting abilities. He did successfully repair the T-Sub and has loyally stood by his fellow Titans whenever they need him, but we seldom see him in combat. Tram can inflate his body to a more physically dominant form, but it isn't clear on how much stronger it actually makes him. Tram can also swim at a similar rate to Aqualad, and has proven himself as a useful sidekick and Titan, but we simply haven't seen enough instances of him fighting to rank him any higher. Next is Jericho. Jericho initially appears to be a harmless and pacifistic hero who doesn't have the ability to speak. His fellow Titans didn't even have much faith in him when he came with Harold to rescue them, yet he has been shown to be very capable of defending himself even if it was in a small sample size. Jericho's main power is the ability to possess anyone who makes eye contact with him. Yet this power is easily exploitable since the green eyes of his victims make it obvious that he is possessing them. And if anything were to obstruct his eyes, he is essentially powerless. Still, Jericho's combat abilities manage to keep him from going any lower. Next up is the Herald. The Herald doesn't have any superpowers, but he is actually a very good fighter. He's used his athletic skills to fight multiple villains at once, especially with his powerful kicks. His main ability is using a magic trumpet-like horn that can summon a rift to a different dimension, where it can suck in a dangerous foe. This horn has proven to be vital to the team whenever the Herald is involved, particularly when he used it to send the Brain's bomb outside of Earth's atmosphere. However, if the horn is blocked by any material, it becomes useless. But Herald's evident fighting capabilities give him a slight edge over Jericho. Next, we have Negative Man. Despite being a member of the Doom Patrol, Negative Man's power and abilities feel lackluster by comparison. He relies on projecting a duplicate of himself to support his teammates. To his credit, this duplicate has been a valuable asset to his team, as he was able to fend off an army of tanks and he disabled a minefield by himself. But this power can only be done within a minute, and the consequences of missing that time limit almost led to his death. And his energy power has been done better by other heroes, so we can't rank Negative Man any higher. Next up is Gnark. As he is a Neanderthal, Gnark is naturally stronger than most humans by default. However, he stands out from his extinct brethren as he is able to adapt to the modern world, even if he doesn't like technology. Not only does Gnark have great survival skills, but he does so in a brutally cold climate that doesn't even affect him. He doesn't have any superpowers, but he has effectively wielded Cole as a powerful weapon when she is in her crystal form. Gnark's teamwork with Cole and his physical strength make him a capable Titan, but he doesn't quite match up with the abilities of most of the other heroes. Next up, we have both Mus and Man. Menos. These little Spanish-speaking twins specialize in super speed. They said they can go up to 7 times the speed of sound. However, they can only go so fast if they physically hold on to each other. They need each other to reach their full capabilities, so when they're separated, they become much more vulnerable to danger. They are not defenseless without each other though, as Mas was able to defeat the Puppet King by himself. Mas y Menos might not be that powerful individually, but together, they make a formidable brotherly duo. Nearing the end of this tier, we have Elastigirl. No, not that Elastigirl. Being the wife of Mento and the second in command of the Doom Patrol, Elastigirl possesses the power to grow to a massive size. She uses this to tower over her opponents and aid her team by using her elevated strength. However, this power comes with limitations, since she was only barely able to hold up a rocky bridge to allow Mento and Beast Boy to escape, and she only managed to survive because of aid from the Titans. But still, Elastigirl's growing ability is very useful, and thus we can't rank her any lower. Finally, we have the brotherly combo of Thunder and Lightning. Like their names suggest, Lightning has the power of electrokinesis and can emit lightning from his hands, while Thunder can produce thunderous energy blasts. While they're flying, they can both teleport out of harm's way, and they can create a heavy dose of rain when they combine their powers together, which was needed to defeat the fire monster that they inadvertently helped to create. Their physical strength hasn't been displayed that much to place them any higher, but Thunder and Lightning are still powerful heroes in their own right. In this next tier, we'll cover the heroes that fall somewhere in the middle. They're a lot more powerful than the average person, but are not among the strongest heroes. Starting off this tier, we have Jinx. As a former villain turned hero, Jinx relies more on her athleticism than her physical strength. She can dodge any attack that comes her way, and she has shown herself to be a good fighter, but her main power is a destructive wave of bad luck energy, so she can literally jinx her opponents. This attack has the power to damage a building, so Jinx could have caused even more damage during her time as a villain. Thankfully, she's redeemed herself, and while the extent of her abilities isn't that powerful, Jinx is a worthy honorary Titan. Next is Argent. We may not have seen much of Argent's physical abilities, but she still has impressive powers that provide value to Titans North. Not only can she fly, but she has been able to withstand any change in the air's atmosphere. Argent's main method of attack is the power to summon red energy from her hands and morph it into whatever she wants it to be, which is not at all that different from the famous Green Lantern. This ability can presumably be used for attacking, defending, or as a form of essential support, and since this power has zero downside, we can't possibly rank Argent any lower. Next up, we have Speedy. Much like his mentor Green Arrow, Speedy is phenomenally skilled at archery, but his arrows can also fulfill a whole variety of respective purposes. Whether it's an exploding arrow or one equipped with a boxing glove, Speedy's probably got a set of arrows for any circumstance. His agility makes him even more formidable, but Speedy isn't solely reliant on his arrows either, because he's also a skilled martial artist. When he's clashed with Robin, he was almost on par with the Boy Wonder. Speedy's physical strength isn't anything noteworthy, but his archery craft and athleticism solidify him as a relatively powerful Titan. Next up is Bushido. Bushido is an honorable swordsman, and his discipline is only rivaled by his exceptional skill. He doesn't have any powers, but his swordsmanship more than makes up for it. Bushido uses his katana to great effect, as he was able to cut off Atlas's leg and he bested several ninjas by himself. He is also an incredible martial artist, meaning that he is reliable to the Titans with or without his katana. However, Bushido's physical strength has a limit, since he was unable to defeat Kataro by himself. Nevertheless, his skills with the katana and his martial arts make Bushido a powerful warrior. Next is Hotspot. As his name suggests, Hotspot's power revolves around his enhanced pyrokinesis. His body literally turns into fire, and he is able to wield it however he pleases. He can purpose this fire into any offensive form and can also use it to fly. Hotspot is athletic and is very durable as well, but his physical strength is what holds him back. He put up a good fight against Robin, but ultimately lost, and he was able to withstand Madame Rouge's brutal onslaught despite being clearly outmatched. He may not be one of the strongest Titans, but his potent fire abilities and his agility keep him from dropping any lower. Next is Mento. We can assume that the leader of the Doom Patrol is fairly strong based on his physical appearance, but that isn't his main strength. Mento has his own helmet that amplifies his telepathic powers. He can read anyone's mind and can even make his opponents fall asleep, which he did against Madame Rouge. But Mento's greatest ability is using his helmet to create a powerful wave of telekinetic energy that can inflict thorough damage. His uptight and prideful nature is what holds him back, but Mento is still a courageous and capable leader. Up next is Kilowatt. Though we didn't see much of him in the series, we can easily infer what power Kilowatt has. His abilities stem from his electric prowess, and he can absorb from any source of electricity, which he can then use for both offense and teleportation. Kilowatt can emit potent electric energy from his hands, but he also has apparent fighting skills. When pitted against Control Freak's monsters, he wiped the floor with them. As an electric superhero, Kilowatt's weakness is obviously water. His physical strength may not have been displayed much in the cartoon, but his devastating electric abilities keep keep him from going any lower. Next on the list, we have Bumblebee. There is more to the leader of Titans East than meets the eye. Like the animal she's named after, Bumblebee can fly with her organic wings. She is a very agile flyer, and in terms of strength, she was able to contend with Cyborg. Bumblebee can also shrink to the size of an actual bee and still retain both her strength and agility. In addition, she has special weapons called stingers that she uses to shoot electrical bolts at any wavelength at her opponent. Bumblebee is fairly durable for her size, but has a hard time dealing with multiple enemies at once. That being said, her physical strength and flexibility solidify her high ranking. Next is Wildebeest. This animalistic hero doesn't have any supernatural abilities, but he makes up for it with brute strength. Throughout his fight with Beast Boy, Wildebeest was roughly on equal terms with the shapeshifter's most powerful forms, but he only won the fight because of his opponent's carelessness. He was also bested by the combined power of both Robin and Speedy, and he proved to be no match for Madame Rouge on their first encounter. His horns are resistant to damage, but that's the only part of him that is immune. Regardless, Wildebeest is still a very strong honorary Titan. The last character in this tier is Aqualad. Much like his fellow aquatic superhero Aquaman, Aqualad specializes in both hydrokinesis and telepathy with sea animals. He can manipulate the water around him for a variety of purposes and can communicate with just about any marine organism, but his telepathic power can be disrupted, as he was no match for Brother Blood's telekinetic powers. As a native Atlantean, Aqualad can also breathe underwater and can withstand immense sea pressure that would flatline any normal human. He is strong, but not enough to fight multiple opponents by himself, and that is why Aqualad only barely misses the cut for the final tier. Finally, we've reached the most powerful heroes. These are the characters who stand head and shoulders above everyone else. Starting off this tier, we have the leader of the Teen Titans himself, Robin. Robin may not have any powers, but he honestly doesn't really need them. From his youth, he was trained by his parents to become part of their acrobatic family. After the tragic death of his parents, Robin was then raised and trained by Batman. So he became an exceptional martial artist who shares many of his mentor's physical abilities and has actually surpassed him in some aspects. Robin frequently punches way above his weight, and his incredible durability means that he can survive brutal damage that would be lethal for the average person. On top of that, Robin's genius intellect and relentless work ethic ensure that he will never slow down as long as his body allows him. Though his attitude sometimes leads to his detriment, Robin's athleticism and physical power make him more than worthy of standing alongside his peers. Next up is Beast Boy. Beast Boy's superpower is pretty self-explanatory. He can turn into any animal he wants for any certain purpose and can fully utilize their abilities while in battle. He can become a dinosaur, a bird, a dog, a sea animal. It doesn't matter. His shape-shifting abilities are extremely valuable to the team, and he can provide plenty of brawn when in his larger forms, particularly when in his unstable werebeast form. But Beast Boy is also a capable fighter in his humanoid form, and he already had prior experience in a superhero team with the Doom Patrol. Beast Boy's physical strength varies heavily on the forms that he uses, and he isn't that intelligent, but his shape-shifting abilities still make him a powerful and reliable Titan. Next on the list is Kid Flash. Much like his namesake, Kid Flash has the power of superhuman speed. Actually, that would be a massive understatement. Kid Flash is so fast that he, in his own words, can vibrate his molecules through solid objects, as he demonstrated when escaping from the Hive headquarters. He is so fast that he can destroy objects just by going through them, and he is an exceptionally quick thinker. Kid Flash is also capable of healing his own injuries very quickly, and he can go fast for an infinite amount of time. His only weakness is that he needs plenty of calories to keep up his stamina. His physical strength isn't truly determined, but his speed abilities are so powerful that he can't possibly be ranked any lower. Next is Robot Man. Robot Man is a big, lumbering mechanical hero with a human brain. He doesn't have any particular powers other than his potent strength and extremely durable physique. Energy attacks bounce right off Robot Man's body, and he can destroy machines by just punching through them. But he isn't invincible, as he needed the Titans to save his life twice. That and his penchant for fighting means that he battles with no strategy to speak of. Robot Man is a very powerful hero, but his lack of other abilities and his own mindset keep him from going any higher than this. Next is Pantha. Pantha is a physically dominant fighter who loves the thrill of a victory. Her specialty is Lucha Libre wrestling, which means that she can beat her opponents by simply overwhelming them. And Pantha is definitely powerful, as she was on equal terms with Cyborg and was able to beat down Adonis and Atlas at the same time. Additionally, she has excellent hearing and can burn her enemies with the Pantha's claw. Her aggressive nature does mean that she doesn't often use rationale when fighting, but Pantha solidifies her ranking with her brute strength and additional powers. Next is Cyborg. Cyborg may be part robot, but that doesn't define him as a man. That being said, Cyborg's robotic half immensely enhanced his physical power and presumably his already elite intelligence. His body is equipped with all sorts of utilities, but the most important ones are his weapons. Cyborg has a sonic cannon on each of his arms and missiles in both his shoulders and chest. He can can even detach his own arms and use them for both attacking and for espionage. As a last resort, Cyborg can fuse with the Titan's tower and charge up a single destructive blast that was able to temporarily wipe out Trigon's whole army, but it drained both him and the tower. Cyborg is also susceptible to the various weaknesses faced by a normal person, which shows that he is still part human after all. Cyborg has continuously shown us that cybernetics may advance your strength, but they don't define your character. Next up is Red Star. Poor Red Star was given his powers by Professor Chang's immoral experiments. His body grew as a result and he gained immense power, but he also couldn't stop producing radioactive energy, and it subsequently led to the annihilation of an entire city. This power makes him eerily similar to Dr. Manhattan, except Red Star actually does feel guilt over his actions. But after Starfire convinces him to accept his abilities, Red Star is able to control his powers more effectively. He can fly, withstand radiation, fire powerful blasts like Starfire, and he can survive being in space. The sample size of his powers is too small to place him any higher. However, Red Star is not only a very powerful hero, he is also a very good man. In the bronze medal category, we have Terra. Terra, as her name suggests, had the power of telekinesis. She possessed the ability to carve out earthly matter and mold it into whatever she wanted. Much like Red Star, Terra's main issue was that she couldn't truly control this power until Slade came into the picture. After betraying her fellow Titans, she adorned a new suit that both enhanced her powers greatly and gave her more refined control over these geokinetic abilities. It made Terra more creative and ruthless with her powers, and she was even able to make living Earth monsters. She did betray the Titans, but she honestly could have done more apocalyptic damage because her power was that potent. Terra's true weakness was her lack of confidence and her willingness to trust Slade. Terra barely classifies as a hero, but she still has a good heart and was a very powerful Titan. Occupying the penultimate spot on our list is Starfire. Starfire is a pure sweetheart that keeps her team together with her positive spirit, but she packs one mighty punch. As a native Tamaranian, she has the ability to fly and can do so through absorbing solar radiation. She is a very agile flyer, which aids her ferocious fighting skills. Starfire can emit powerful green blasts from her hands and has also gained the ability to shoot green lasers from her eyes. We actually don't even know the true limit of Starfire's physical strength, but she has been seen to be easily lifting a heavier load with just one hand, while Cyborg strained with a lighter load using two hands. So it's needless to say that Starfire is leagues stronger than the vast majority of her fellow Titans. She can survive in space, but she can't last too long in the snow terrain because of the lack of solar energy. But her main weakness is that her powers won't work if she's depressed or conflicted. Starfire is an extremely powerful and noble hero, and her strength is only surpassed by one Titan. Finally, we have our most powerful Titan, Raven. Raven's abilities just eclipse the rest of the heroes, and it's not hard to see why. Her most famous ability is being able to project her own soul into a form of dark energy, and unlike Negative Man, she can use this power to a significantly greater effect and can do so for 5 times longer. Raven can use the Soul Self to move any object with telekinesis, can morph her energy into anything she wants, float in the air with ease, and can teleport wherever she pleases. She also unintentionally froze time itself when overwhelmed with anxiety, but Raven also utilizes magic with incantations, including her signature one, Azarath Metrion Zinthos. When she became White Raven, she unleashed her true power and was able to destroy the all-powerful Trigon. Magic is what ultimately activates Raven's power, but it is also her greatest weakness. Like Starfire, Raven's abilities heavily depend on her emotions, and if she is unable to focus, her powers won't be nearly as effective. If she is unable to say her famous incantation, her powers just won't work at all. But Raven's abilities still make her much more powerful than the rest of the Titans, and that is why she is the most powerful hero in all of Teen Titans. But let us know in the comments which Teen Titans hero you think is the weakest or strongest, and tell us what we should cover next. Make sure to hit that notification bell and binge our Weak to Powerful playlist. But most importantly, stay wicked.